ನಮ್ಮ ಬಹುಭಾಷಾ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಆಸ್ತಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ಶಕ್ತಿ. ಅದು ಖಂಡಿತ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಇದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಈ ಉತ್ತರಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಪಶ್ಚಿಮ ದೇಶಗಳತ್ತ ನಾವು ಮುಖ ಮಾಡುವ ಅಗತ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನುವುದನ್ನು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಬಲವಾಗಿ ಪ್ರತಿಪಾದಿಸುವಂತಹ ಹಿರಿಯರು ನಮ್ಮ ವೇದಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರೇ ಪದ್ಮಶ್ರೀ ದೇವಿ ಪ್ರಸನ್ನ ಪಟ್ನಾಯಕ್. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Devi Prasanna Patnaik for his keynote address.
ಮಿತ್ರರೇ, ನನಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡ ಮಾತಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ ಎಂದು ತುಂಬ ಬೇಜಾರು. I would like to say one or two things before I begin my keynote address. I am reminded of U.R. Ananthamurthy, with whom I had spoken that I would come and see him. At the time of the 8th Kolamela, which the Karnataka was celebrating, 16 Kannadigas were given some honor. And among the 16, my name was one. So Ananthamurthy came and said, he changed the order. He said the first Kannadiga award should be given to Dr. Patnaik. Last year, Veerappa Moili had come to Bhubaneswar at the governor's house for release of one of the translations of his books. Some of the MPs and MLA pulled me. They said, we would introduce you to Veerappa Moili. To my great surprise, Moili said, he told them, he says, whom are you bringing here to introduce to me? We treat him first as a Kannadiga, then as a Odia. And he said that right beginning from making Kannada the state official language to the establishment of the Department of Culture and to many other things, we have his support and his activity. Therefore, please don't bring him to introduce to me. I am very proud that I am here. I am very proud that I am here because at one time when I was in Mysore, I and Kuvempu went for a morning walk together. For months together we had walked together. I don't want to get into that. So today, I thought that I am really honored because you have invited me to give the keynote address. I thought of what should I give my address on. Therefore I named it as How Many Are Many. Soon after I completed my masters in Odia, I got an offer from Santiniketan, Vishwabharati, to teach. I spent the first 11 years of my professional life there. My children started growing up bilingual. Then we left for Pune. The children studied Hindi and Marathi in the school, and to cope with the environment, in addition, they learned English as I had to deal with American students and scholars. After 6 years, we moved into Karnataka. Children had to learn through the Kannada medium. My son says that he is more proficient in Kannada than in Odia. He is here. One day my eldest son asked me, Father, how many languages do you want us to learn? I told him, son, it is not I who determines how many languages you learn. But today, the parents are saying, we will determine what would be the mother tongue of the child. It is very strange because it's because of the English lobby that this thing has come up. You have to make that choice. If you want to stay in Odisha, then probably one language may suffice to give you minimum subsistence. If you learn Bengali, Marathi, Telugu, then you may be able to seek new pastures in the neighboring states. If you learn Hindi, you can operate in 8 states in the country. As a parent, I am not worried about how many languages you would learn. I am worried about having learned the language, whether you have a fair chance of competition in those states. Learning of many languages opens up newer avenues of creative imagination. How far you can go depends on you. Neither India as a whole nor any of the states has a language policy. While reconstituting states on linguistic basis, minorities were completely forgotten. That while maintaining the language and culture of the minorities, teaching them the state official language is the responsibility of the state was completely forgotten. Some concessions were given to the minorities for establishing institutions for maintaining their own languages and culture, but this was misused in the establishment of English medium schools. The governments washed their hands of the minorities on the one hand and created new minorities on the other. Due to internal migration, linguistic minorities in all states are in the increase. Since democracy is the rule of the majority, minority languages and cultures were either suppressed or neglected in the states. The new migrants fell into the same pattern and are economically exploited. If they were taken into account, our education should have been multilingual education, and language would have been treated as foundation of good governance. Multilingualism is a grassroots reality in India. The Western countries grew up under dominant monolingualism. They did not recognize bilingualism until 1961. In 1961, Wallace Lambert, the doyen of Western bilingualism, changed his paradigm from negative to positive, from subtractive to additive, and from a load to an asset. The Western world accepted bilingualism and the whole world followed. Lambert told me that his paradigm was what it was as he had worked only with the middle-class white children. When he started working with black, brown and yellow children, he had to change his paradigm. In 1991, the Harvard University Press brought out a publication entitled Bilingualism and Multiculturalism. Although the West recognized multiculturalism, they refused to recognize multilingualism. It is only after European Economic Community, European Common Market was formed and the European Union worked with the 13 languages that sufficient pressure was exerted within the West. With the growing pressure of Asia, Africa and Latin America, the Western countries were forced to accept multilingualism. In 2010, in a conference in New Delhi with UN support, 37 Western scholars accepted multilingualism as a viable reality. The world is known for its biocultural diversity. India, with its 3,000 mother tongues, 4,000 castes and communities, 4,000 faiths and beliefs, and its immensity of flora and fauna, is equally bioculturally diverse. By the time the Union Education Minister came to Pune to invite me to join the Government of India and take charge of languages, I was convinced about the strength and weakness of a multilingual state. And this Union Education Minister was no other than B.K. Rao, a Kannadiga. A multilingual state cannot be nurtured on a relationship of confrontation or contrast among entities. It can only be sustained on a relationship of complementarity. When the complementarity relation is converted into a hierarchical relation, conflict ensues. A child, when she is born, establishes the first relationship with the sound she makes and the sound she hears. She recognizes things and beings by naming them. She uses her innate language ability to build up the grammar of the specific language she is exposed to. Using the meta language, she builds her worldview. On the strong foundation of mother tongue, it is easy to learn other languages and subjects. But if the foundation is weak, then both the foundation language and further languages or subjects are weakened. That, according to the Asser report, an 8th standard child cannot read a 2nd standard text is a good example of this. English teaching learning has so clouded the Indian mindset that it has set the education system in jeopardy. By insisting that it is the only international language of consequence, it has stood as a barrier for learning other foreign languages and neighboring languages. By declaring that it is the only language of knowledge and development, it has decimated the developed modern Indian languages. By projecting its monomodel, it has resisted multilingualism. It has endangered minority languages. This doesn't mean that those who point out the deficiency of the system are anti-English. Nobody believes that English should be banished from the country. But certainly a lot of thinking intellectuals are against excessive anglicization which destroys self-identity of the country. The excessive time allotment for English without quality materials and qualified teachers and neglect of the mother tongue at the elementary and secondary levels makes the foundation weak. There is no wonder that the technological and higher education superstructure built on such shaky foundation results in outcomes so that not even one of the Indian universities is within the first 200 in the world. Mother tongue is the best medium of multilingual school education with ability to acquire knowledge through one or more other languages. Without language subjects, all other subjects need to be taught through mother tongue medium, leaving it open to change mediums at higher stages. Thus, this facilitates acquisition of knowledge through other tongues, including English. Here I would like to point out one thing. Unfortunately, linguistics is declining in the country. There is no serious effort at maintaining linguistics. Linguistics and languages have come to be at the opposite end. I have been arguing all the years that all the Sahitya academies should have linguists in their cadre, in their institutions. No Sahitya academy has a linguist. And I am happy that there are some now who have come and joined the Sahitya Academy. But by and large, all state Sahitya Academy, you find very rarely linguists associated with that. But that's not very important. Whether Sahitya Academy has a linguist or not is not important. But linguistics departments are dying down from universities, and there is no effort at mentoring that. I was asking about Karnataka. Karnataka is no exception. Therefore, unless linguistics and literature departments, linguistics and literary persons work together, this movement cannot move forward, I can tell you. I still remember in 1969, C.D. Deshmukh called me, and he had an idea that he should have two departments in the Delhi University, as there are two economics departments in the Delhi University. He said that there should be one department of linguistics, economics, one for applied economics. Similarly, he had an idea that he should have one department of linguistics, one department of applied linguistics. But I told him that it would be better, since they have a Tagore Department of Modern Indian Languages, they should work in collaboration with linguistics department. But in any case, let's not go into that. That is history. Pre-independence and immediate post-independence demand was for a common school system where rich and poor, upper and lower caste, socially powerful and those without power could study together. But over the years, we have developed a dual system, one with good infrastructure, trained teachers, good instructional materials and English medium, and the other with poor infrastructure, untrained or poorly trained teachers, Shiksha Sahayaks, poor instructional material and regional language medium. In the regional medium schools, there are no major language teachers in primary schools. In Odisha, there is Bengali, Hindi, Telugu, English teachers, but no Odia teachers in primary schools. This dual system has resulted in breaking up our family, community and our social fabric. A Santali grandmother, when asked why she doesn't send her grandchildren to school, reacted sharply. She asked, "School? Which school? The school from which, if my child passes matriculation, builds a house at Baripada, which is the district headquarters. If he passes BA, builds a house in Bhubaneswar, that is the state headquarters." There is no wonder that development is a factor in exclusion. Instead of arguing about serial ordering of languages in formal schooling, deficiency in language pedagogy, or making language a factor in the process of certification and a factor in the race for privileges, it would be a more satisfactory conclusion to talk about the positive factors of mother tongue education. Three alternative approaches are found in discussions about mother tongue education in a multilingual setting. The first is that all distinctions will cease, leading to total assimilation. The second is formal minority status to entities, leading to ultimate separation. Both these are steeped in strife and confrontation. The third and the most difficult alternative is complementarity among varieties of a language and many languages in a multilingual scenario. Primacy of mother tongue is seen in terms of concept formation, creative thinking, and intimate socialization. Instruction in the mother tongue helps in the search for self-affirmation, establishing group identity, satisfies the national urge for cultural rootedness, and avoids fanaticism. It ensures harmonious relationship with the environment and maximizes opportunities offered by early learning experiences. It helps to see issues in the perspective of the common man. Mother tongue learning is a joy. By neglecting mother tongue and giving primacy to other tongues, we have made language education a disabling factor. Linguists agree that many languages perform different complementary roles in a multilingual setting in the same way as different dialects and styles in a monolingual setting. Therefore, an argument for the mother tongue is neither an argument for a single language nor for an insulated culture. It is an argument in favor of an individual or a group defining its own identity and culture and using it as a springboard for exploring into integrating with other cultures, thus contributing towards a world culture. Ignoring the mother tongue or replacing it by another does not only result in intellectual impoverishment and emotional sterility in the individual, but cultural atrophy for a social group, linguistics and culture. Problems and challenges for regional languages in education. No research on developing regional languages as languages of knowledge and languages of development. The British taught us that your languages are neither languages of knowledge nor are they languages of development. Therefore, we also accepted that and we said that the only language of knowledge and development is English. Growing superiority complex for English education and inferiority complex for regional language education. As English is the language of rank, status and wealth within the country. Due to the colonial teaching, our languages are neither languages of knowledge nor are they languages of development. Misunderstanding about language as subject and language as medium. No research on mother tongue as medium and other tongue as medium. No research on reading and cross-language transfer. Research books to be used as text and reference. No research on bridge courses or intensive courses. Regional languages not used in education, law, administration and mass communication. As a result, administrative languages are barrier to good governance. Infrastructure development, no grammars, dictionaries and instructional materials, no good textual materials, no supporting library laboratory. No research on inclusive, exclusive and quality education. No research on skill education. No good teacher training institutes. Curriculum, school with no teachers, inadequate teachers and untrained teachers. no research on bilingual, multilingual education or e-education. Fundamental to all these is language. There is no subject without language and no language without subject. Skills like seeing, listening, understanding, speaking, naming, reading and writing, which are basic ingredients of humanity, are language-based. The child has to be educated and has to acquire knowledge through languages. Therefore, the state, while offering education, must provide options and alternatives so that no child is denied the opportunity of learning. Two things are clear. The first is that the primacy of the mother tongue, and the second is the state official language. Considering the multilingual character of the state and the states, there is no alternative to this policy. Hindi and English should be the third and fourth languages depending upon the alternatives made available by the state. I have only 2 minutes to go. English should be introduced. English should not be introduced before Standard 6. The choice of alternate medium should be a post-school affair. At the present time, serial ordering of languages in schools determines their first, second and third language status. As a result, the pedagogy consideration has been pushed out of consideration. For a Tulu child, Tulu, Kannada and English are the first language, depending on where they are or what they are. Similarly, Tulu, Kannada, English and Hindi can be the second language. Pedagogically, mother tongue is the first language. The language which is taught under conditions where the classroom teaching is influenced by the language spoken in the surrounding is the second language. And the language confined to the classroom is taught as a foreign language. It will now be clear that no language is a second or a foreign language. The language so designated depending on the conditions of teaching. One last answer to the multiplicity of languages to be addressed and multiplicity of subjects in the curriculum. Papua New Guinea, the smallest country in the world, smaller in size than Karnataka, has 1100 languages. The government has recognized 800 of these and primary education is given in 600 languages. The primary syllabus of Maharashtra in the year 1824 included the study of reading, writing, arithmetic, history of England and India, geography, astronomy, natural philosophy, algebra, Euclidean geometry. Even in 1940, the primary education syllabus included mother tongue, Hindustani, arithmetic, history and civics, geography, general sciences, domestic sciences for girls' schools, handwork, needlework, drawings and physical training. These were held as model syllabuses at that time. And today we are worried about the number of subjects to be introduced at the primary level and the number of languages. We are ignoring the mother tongue and then we are trying to put other languages in their place. I think it is high time that the country stands up and makes in a single voice says that the state language, which is the mother tongue of the largest number of people in the state, should have the first priority in this thing, and the minority has to be taught the first language, the mother tongue of the state. Thank you.